Hi, this is Bazi from Meslova. In previous session, we discussed about various types of responses to particular stimuli and coordination of our nervous system for various voluntary and involuntary functions in our body. Now we have to going to learn about how the nervous system, the complete coordination of nervous system, that is central nervous system, peripheral nervous system and various types of ductless glands which secretes mysterious chemicals, that is hormones, how all these things are coordinating our complete activities of voluntary and involuntary activities in our body. We know that the nervous system is divided into two parts, that is central nervous system and another one is peripheral nervous system. The central nervous system which includes brain and spinal cord, whereas the peripheral nervous system, which is very interesting nervous system which forms the outside of the brain and spinal cord. The peripheral nervous system which is emerging all the nerves from the brain and spinal cord. That means the nerves which are emerging from the brain, that is 12 pairs of cranial nerves, and the nerves which are emerging from the spinal cord, that is 31 pairs of spinal nerves, and together formed as 43 pairs of total nerves which are emerging from the brain and spinal cord forms the peripheral nervous system. These 43 pairs of nerves performs all the sensory, motor and mixed functions in our body. Then this elaborated system of nerves, neurons and dendrites which are forming outside the brain, spinal cord and which controls the functions of complete central nervous system, that is the peripheral nervous system. You know, the spinal cord is very important to perform many activities in our body, and this is very interesting story about the spinal cord. You know, in those days, according to research by Leonardo Da Vinci and Stephen Hales, both are conducting lot of research on spinal cord, and they recorded that the animal was survived after damaging the brain, and it also shows the muscular movement in their body. But the animal died immediately after damaging the spinal cord. It shows the importance of spinal cord in lower organisms and also its vital functions in the body. Such an experiments proved that the spinal cord is not only a instruction center, but also it is a vital command center in our body. The nerves attached to spinal cord have two types of connections. One is to the dorsal side of the spinal cord and another is the ventral side. One connection is to the back side, that is dorsal side, and one connection is to the front side, that is ventral side of the spinal cord. In early 19th century, the two scientists Charles Bell from Scotland and Francois Magendie from France, they show these roots have two different functions. They have different functions in their performance. They concluded with series of experiments on various types of animals. They finally concluded that the dorsal root or dorsal side carried the messages inward to the nervous system, whereas the ventral root system carries information from the inward to the outside of the body, that is muscles. The dorsal roots and ventral roots both performing different activities. The dorsal root carries information inward, that is sensory or efferent nerve which carries information from the outside to the inside of the body, whereas the ventral root carries information from inside of the body to the outside of the muscles. That means it is efferent or motor neurons. Here, if you observe the total peripheral nervous system which forms various types of bunch of networks at a particular place which is called as ganglia, from which the nerves are emerging from the both spinal cord and the brain. And all these muscles are linked to both spinal cord and brain to the one end and muscles to the another end. That is sense organs and muscles and skin to the another end. This peripheral nervous system controls both voluntary and involuntary functions in our body. And this peripheral nervous system is divided into two subdivisions. One is sensory division, another one is motor division. The motor division is further divided into one is somatic nervous system, another one is autonomic nervous system. The somatic nervous system which controls all the consciously controlled activities like voluntary functions in our body, whereas autonomic nervous system controls all the activities which are unconsciously controlled by our brain and spinal cord, that is involuntary functions in our body. Somatic nervous system responsible for carrying both motor and sensory information. It is made up of nerves that connected to skin, sense organs and muscles of the body. The sensory nervous system, that is somatic nervous system, responsible for carrying information from the outside of the body to the inside of the nervous system. It is responsible for all necessary voluntary functions involved in the body. It possesses information from all the sense organs to the central nervous system, and the voluntary functions especially get stimuli from all the sense organs like hearing, vision, touch or odor, like this, in which both type of nerves are involved, that is afferent nerves and efferent nerves. The afferent which carries outside information to the inside and efferent which carries inside information to the outside of the body. Here the afferent motor neurons takes information from the outside of the body to the inside of the central nervous system, whereas efferent neurons which carry information from the central nervous system to the outside of the body, that is muscles, to respond to the stimuli. This is all about the somatic nervous system. Another division of peripheral nervous system which is controlling all the involuntary activities in our body, that is autonomic nervous system. This is a very special type of nervous system which controls all the involuntary and vital functions in our body, that is like heartbeat, respiration, almost all the vital functions in our body which is controlled by this autonomic nervous system only. The autonomic nervous system has two subdivisions. These are forming by the bunch of network of neurons which acts opposite to each other within our body to maintain our complete vital metabolic activities. That forms two systems, that is one is sympathetic nervous system, another one is parasympathetic nervous system. The sympathetic and parasympathetic both are work in opposite direction to maintain the complete activity of our brain, our body. The sympathetic nervous system is also called as fight or flight response system. It causes general alertness and excitement in our body, and also it is a way of perceived threat for a particular threat. They play a very important role in vital functions. The parasympathetic nervous system is very cool and calm. Here it is also called as rest or digest system or feed and breed response system. It keeps body very cool, calm and restful state. Certain involuntary functions in our body in which both type of parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system which work opposite to each other to maintain our vital activities in our body. Here the sympathetic nervous system is a very fast response system, whereas parasympathetic is a slow response system. If we observe the complete vital functions in our body, certain functions like the size of the pupil in our eye, the sympathetic nervous system dilates the pupil size, whereas parasympathetic nervous system contract the pupil size. In the same manner, if you see, the sympathetic system inhibits the saliva, whereas the parasympathetic, it stimulates the saliva. The sympathetic nervous system relaxes the bronchi, whereas it contracts the bronchi. The sympathetic nervous system accelerates the heartbeat, whereas parasympathetic nervous system, it inhibits the heart rate. The sympathetic nervous system increases the blood pressure, whereas the parasympathetic nervous system decreases the blood pressure in our body. The sympathetic nervous system which inhibits the pancreatic activity, whereas the parasympathetic nervous system, it stimulates the pancreatic activity. Sympathetic nervous system decreases the secretions of digestive juices, whereas parasympathetic nervous system increases the secretions of digestive juices. Sympathetic nervous system relaxes urinary bladder, whereas parasympathetic nervous system, it contracts the urinary bladder. Whereas the sympathetic nervous system relaxes sex structures, whereas parasympathetic nervous system, it stimulates sex structures. If you observe the various types of vital functions in our body which is controlled by sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system, the sympathetic nervous system is very fast system, whereas parasympathetic nervous system is very slow system. If you observe the vital functions like the sympathetic nervous system is formed by the chain of ganglia which is formed either side of the vertebral column. The nerves emerging from these ganglia and then are connected to rest of the body. Whereas the parasympathetic nervous system, they are forming from the ganglia arising from the brain and also ganglia nearer to the sense organs, and they are connecting between both type of ganglia in between our body, and these neurons have a special type of sensory neurons. Here sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system together controls the complete vital involuntary functions of our body through autonomic nervous system. Both together, the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system make you experience the feel, stress, emotions, and also sometimes it make a panic and peace. It is the part of our peripheral nervous system which consisting of 31 pairs of spinal nerves, 12 pairs of cranial nerves, and together forming a special type of bunch of network of neurons which carry the information of both mixing of sensory, motor and mixed functions in our body. The central nervous system, that is brain and spinal cord, and also the peripheral nervous system, that is emerging the nerves from the both of this brain and spinal cord, coordinate with each other to control all the activities in our body. Till now we understand the part of nervous system, that is central nervous system and peripheral nervous system, and its division like somatic nervous system and autonomic nervous system, and in which sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system, how they work in opposite direction to coordinate the vital functions of involuntary activities, and how somatic responses stimulates the voluntary activities in our body. In next session, we will meet and discuss about the brain in the belly, that is another nervous system, enteric nervous system, and the mysterious chemicals that secretes in our body, which carry a vital role in information carrying system, that is hormones. Until then, bye bye students. Thank you and see you soon.